Here is the material exactly as it is preserved in the Old Latin Marcionite associated gospel prologue tradition, followed by 1st, 3rd century writers who say similar things. Gospel prologues: Mark, Luke, John. Mark, who is called stumpy-fingered, was the interpreter of Peter. After the death of Peter, he wrote this gospel in the regions of Italy. He had not himself seen the Lord in the flesh, but he recorded what he had heard from Peter faithfully. Luke, a physician from Antioch, was a companion of the apostle Paul. After the Gospels had already been written by Matthew in Judea and Mark in Italy, he wrote his gospel in the regions of Achaia. He wrote under the influence of the Holy Spirit. He had not seen the Lord in the flesh, but followed Paul. He also wrote the Acts of the Apostles. John, the apostle of the Lord and one who reclined on the Lord's breast, wrote this gospel. After the other evangelists had written, he was urged by the bishops of Asia and the disciples to set forth more clearly the divinity of Christ. He wrote in Ephesus, in Asia. Early writers who give the same or very similar accounts, 1st to 3rd century. 1st century. Clement of Rome, identified as a companion of apostolic men in Rome. His letter reflects awareness of apostolic authority and early transmission of teaching tied to the apostles, aligning with the idea that gospel tradition comes through apostolic men, though he does not name gospel authors directly. 2nd century. Papias of Hierapolis reports that Mark wrote accurately what he remembered from Peter's preaching. Matthew compiled sayings in Hebrew style, connects gospel origins directly to apostles Peter and Matthew. Irenaeus of Lyons explicitly states Matthew, apostle; Mark, interpreter of Peter; Luke, companion of Paul; John, apostle in Ephesus, matches the same authorship framework found in the prologues. Tertullian repeats the same gospel assignments. Luke equals companion of Paul; Mark equals connected to Peter; John equals apostle, uses these identifications in arguments against Marcion's gospel use. Muratorian fragment describes Luke as physician and companion of Paul; John as apostle writing his own gospel; Mark as interpreter of Peter, confirms the same authorship tradition found in the prologues. Our 3rd century, Origen, preserves the same basic tradition. Matthew and John as apostles, Mark linked to Peter, Luke linked to Paul, treats these attributions as standard church tradition. Hippolytus of Rome affirms the fourfold gospel tradition with Mark from Peter, Luke from Paul, John the apostle, aligns with the same structure found in the prologues. Summary of what the tradition consistently says. Across the prologues and early writers, 1st, 3rd century, the shared framework is Mark, interpreter of Peter; Luke, companion of Paul, physician; John, apostle in Ephesus; Matthew, apostle writing first in Judea.